Hello, everybody. This is the Chasing Points Podcast, episode 159. It is January. It is cold. It's snowing here. It snowed here, I should say. People need to stop panicking and act like they've never been in a snowstorm if they lived in the Northeast their whole entire life and panic and running to the stores. But hopefully everybody's safe. You all have power. You're all good. All that good jazz. Yes, I'm speaking very fast because I have a lot that I want to say today. Gentlemen, by gentlemen, for those that are listening for the first time, that'd be Harrison. That'd be Sam. And myself, Branden.
Thank you.
How are you guys doing today?
Good. I love that the snow happened on a Sunday and then holiday Monday. So I'm really just sitting inside, being lazy. So all good.
I love that.
Yeah. Happy snow day, everybody. Kids just came inside from playing outside. They had a blast, and I shoveled. So did my wife.
My only kid is my dog, and he absolutely is infatuated with the snow. And
that's awesome.
Somehow, some way, buries his face in the snow to try to get his scent, and it's just the funniest thing ever. So, I will live through him on that. Today, everybody, we got some football to talk about, and we're getting less and less games, but it's getting closer and closer to the biggest game of the year. And these games have been pretty big. So we're gonna recap the divisional championship, or the divisional playoffs, and then we're going to talk about the conference championship as well coming up. We have some very, very interesting talk. So let's just not even beat around the bush and let's just dive into this and recap the conference. Gentlemen, Bills Ravens was talked up to be the big game of this weekend, and I would say that it lived up to that for sure. The game was decided on a 2-point conversion and many other things that we're definitely going to talk about. But the Bills ended up pulling it out 27-25. Going into this game, we knew that one of the potential MVP winners was going to lose this game no matter what. We didn't know which one it was going to be. Going into Buffalo is normally an advantage this time of the year to play in that. Some people would say it's not an advantage because both teams have to play in it, but one team is the home team and the other is not. But there was considered to the Ravens were considered to be the slight favorite in this situation, and that didn't really necessarily pan out. So I would like this to be a open conversation, not me just sharing all the stats and stuff like that, since we have less games to talk about today. What would be something that stood out to you guys? Because I think the biggest thing that stood out to me is the how can I say this? The ghost in the room, which would be the turnovers that the Ravens always seem to have during the playoffs and can never get over the hump. There's always that crucial 1 to 2 crucial plays that happen throughout a game for the Ravens in the playoffs, and they can't do this. I do want to say that it's a drastic difference from last year to this year, at least in my opinion. They utilized their star players. I still felt that they underutilized Derrick Henry. They should have used him a little bit more, especially in the weather that was there. But there's one thing that I won't do, and I'm glad people aren't really doing it outside of his fumble, but blaming Lamar Jackson, because he was phenomenal last night, in my opinion. What was your thoughts on the game, guys?
This game was great. I was really excited for it, and I know we all were. I know the football world was. It's a shame that it was a divisional game.
Yes.
Overall, divisional weekend's a great weekend of football. Don't get me wrong. But this was, totally an AFC championship type game. So for one, I know it'll be quarterbacks, right? Josh Allen finally got over that hump, if you will, and Lamar suffered again at the same point. You're the quarterback, you get all the credit and you get all the blame regardless here. It was a team loss on Baltimore's end here. And, I think they looked great until they didn't. And Buffalo just continued to just play their game and play the way they play football. And it was, it's unfortunate. It comes down to a handful of plays mostly Mark Andrews, and that fumble from Lamar trying to do too much. But I'm not going to point the finger on the guy who could, be 3-time MVP. Not in this case.
Yeah, I think a big theme of 3 of the 4 games is the turnovers, and the possessions, and the turnovers are so crucial in this round because these teams are so even all across the board. Bills, Ravens, Eagles, Rams, Commanders, Lions, Texans, Chiefs, even for that matter. But it just comes down to the turnovers and making mistakes at the wrong time. And it's kind of like a wait and see game, like who's going to make the first mistake and who's going to capitalize off it. And we saw it in those 3 games specifically that, the turnovers really changed the tide of the game and ultimately decided it. And, it's never going to be on 1 2-point conversion at the end of the game, although, he hit him in the hands and he probably should have caught that, obviously. But, going for 2 earlier in the fourth or the third quarter or their last scoring possession, set them up to that point where they had to go for 2, at the end of the game. So, yeah, it's just the mistakes. Really, the mistakes basically decide the winner and the loser. It's not so much the team that's winning and playing well. It's how can you capitalize off the mistakes that the other team is making. And the Ravens just made too many mistakes yesterday. 3 turnovers, Bills had none. And that's just going to change the whole tenor of the game.
I know the topic has been on media all day today, whatnot, and all over social media platforms when it comes to this particular game about Mark Andrews dropping those passes. He throughout the season, throughout this whole entire season, he had 4 total drops. Period. 2 were in this game. So or turnovers, excuse me, I should say. Right. I think it's 4 turnovers. Yeah. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's one of Lamar Jackson's most reliable receivers that he's ever had. He's always been an essential safety blanket. But I felt so bad for them, especially for throwing the ball in the flat like that, him having it in his hand and him dropping the ball. It just reminded me immediately of what happened to the Eagles earlier this year when they were playing the Falcons. And they threw the ball to Saquon, and if he catches it, the game's over and he drops it. Like, it happens. Like, this is, I don't think people really understand how much pressure is on an individual to do that. And to me, they also missed the extra point, or they went for 2 earlier. If they went for the extra point when they scored that touchdown, they wouldn't have had to go for 2. They would have been able to kick a field goal and the game would have been tied. So they wouldn't have had to do that at all, period. And they wouldn't have to go and to try to go for 2 points and make it up from there. So there's definitely decisions earlier in the game that changed that. Yes, Lamar with the fumble was trying to do too much in that situation, but he still willed the team to where they needed to be. They continue to do this, and I think a point that people aren't talking about enough, they did this without their top receiver, who got injured before they went into the playoffs because they wanted to play to get into, I think, was a higher seed. But it didn't work out that way, right? So things happen. I'm now starting to the question I have now, fast forwarding or pivoting to what do they do as the Ravens? They continuously are in this spot every year. Lamar is always in the conversation for MVP, great regular season. They get into the playoffs and it's one thing after another and they don't get there. What do they do, guys? Like, is it a coaching staff? Is it changing the philosophy? Is it the players? What do you think needs to be changed for the Ravens to get over this hump? And do you think that their window is closing to get into the Super Bowl?
I don't think so. I think it's a privilege to be in the position they're in. They're obviously a very good football team, and a few things break differently. And they're looking at a matchup with the Chiefs and probably winning that matchup and heading to the Super Bowl. It's just luck of the draw, man. Like, you minimize those mistakes, and it's a whole different ball game. I mean, they outgained the Buffalo Bills by almost 150 total yards. They're right there. I wouldn't make any kind of rash decisions on anything. Lamar Jackson is going to be Lamar Jackson for at least a couple more years, barring injury or anything like that. But yeah, I don't really change a thing. I think you kind of run it back. maybe add some additional pieces if you can, and go from there, and hopefully it shakes out differently. But you got to keep knocking on that door. You're in a good position. A lot of teams would kill to be in the position they're in, and you just got to keep kind of chopping at the wood.
Yeah, this team identified that, we talked about it all off season too. The Ravens needed to run that ball against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game last year, and they didn't. But here we are. Like, Derrick Henry's doesn't look like he's slowing down. Lamar doesn't look like he's slowing down. And as far as like doing too much, like, I feel like who wouldn't you want to do too much there? I mean, like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Like, I would trust those guys doing too much in that moment. Like, that's what makes Lamar brilliant.
Yep.
The fumble I'm talking about makes Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers in his heyday, like the ability to like just make something happen there. Yeah, it's unfortunate. This defense got a lot better throughout the year as far as the Ravens go. And they could have run the ball more. And they had injuries. So all teams have injuries there, but this game was going to come down to one of these quarterbacks won and one of them didn't. Correct. And Mark Andrews' role has changed in this offense over the last couple of years. His play has gone down, but he's in his prime, as solid as they come. I don't know if he's a future Hall of Famer. He's right. I'd have to look, but he's right there as one of the top talented. This guy was looked at as a blocking tight end coming out of the draft, and like he just became this ultimate weapon, Swiss Army knife for how they used him in this offense with Lamar, and it's been brilliant. But here we are. We talked about it last week when we were talking about John Harbaugh. Like, the last 4 quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl, it's been two guys, Patrick Mahomes and Matt Stafford, the last 4 Super Bowls. And Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, they all went to the Super Bowl, they lost. So it's like we talk about, and we judge everyone by this greatness, right? Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl. Jim Kelly went to 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And all of the, Chuck Barkley doesn't have a ring, like all of these different things. And it's like, okay, like take a snap. I know we talked about this during the season, but like take a snapshot of the last decade in the NFL. It's been dominated in the biggest stage by like 2 guys for the last decade.
Yeah,
pretty much. And before that, it was Brady and Peyton. And, you sprinkle in Big Ben, Flacco had that run, Eli, like this, and that's what makes like legendary. But I don't think you're disappointed if you're the Ravens, if you're a Ravens fan here, but you just ran into a buzzsaw here. These teams are all really good and really well matched. It's just, the cream rises to the crop here. I don't know what you necessarily change. I just know the foundation of this team is really strong, and they'll continue to get better. And it's a shame that it was a divisional game for the narrative, but it was a great game.
I will say this as we move on to the next game. The Ravens missed an opportunity per media because Josh Allen only threw for 127 yards in this game, and per media, that is a detriment to a star player. But he threw for 127, no touchdowns that he threw for, but rushing touchdowns, he had 2, Josh Allen, and didn't turn the ball over, which is extremely important, as Harrison highlighted before, and as every team that has won and is now moving on had 0 turnovers, and the other teams did. So let's speak of another team that did not turn the ball over and hasn't turned the ball over in quite some times, but they are causing a ton of turnovers, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. My Philadelphia Eagles, not Harrison's, because you'll see again why it's not Harrison's, because of who he picked to win this next game. But we'll get into that. It said it was going to snow. It did. It didn't start off that way. had great conditions, just cold in the beginning, and then it started to come down. Very, very interesting watching this game. Matthew Stafford threw for 324 yards and 2 TDs. Jalen Hurts threw for 128 yards, but opened up the game with a 50-yard rushing touchdown himself. Saquon, again, went absolutely apeshit against the Rams. And I have something I want to read to you guys about Saquon Barkley. In his 2 games this season, including this playoff matchup, in the divisional game yesterday, he had 26 carries and 205 yards, 7.9 carries, 7.9 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns, a 62-yarder, and a 78-yard touchdown. And then 4 receptions for 27 yards. Combined with Week 12's performance, which he rushed 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. In the whole entire year in the 2 games against the Rams this year, Saquon had 534 yards, 4 touchdowns in those 2 games. I do.
Pretty good.
He's good at football.
I'd say it's pretty good. I know you guys try to calm me down when I talk about media and I watch what media talks about, and the only thing that they continuously talk about is, well, Jalen Hurts is not throwing the ball. When is he going to do and throw the ball and lead the team there? He doesn't have to do that. He's done that already. We keep forgetting what he did in the Super Bowl. Who was the better quarterback in the Super Bowl? It wasn't Patrick Mahomes. It was him. Who won the Super Bowl? Patrick Mahomes. Jalen Hurts has shown over time that he can do it. He doesn't have to do it. When you have a guy like Saquon Barkley in the backfield that you can hand the ball off to 26 times and he can run for 255 yards and teams still can't stop him, even though the game plan, which the Rams did, they loaded the box, still couldn't stop him. Even though the Rams, shout out to the Rams, their D-line was bullying. They were bullying the Eagles yesterday, and the Eagles were due for one of those games, and they absolutely gave Jalen Hurts no pocket whatsoever. They sacked him several times, even had a touchback or safety, excuse me. But they still win, and that's all that matters to me. I don't care what it looks like. I just want the team to win, and I'm pretty sure they feel the same. They've said it themselves, so on and so forth. So, gentlemen, you obviously know I can go on and talk about this forever. I won't. I'll spare the audience. I will also spare you guys. But what is your thoughts on this game, the outcome, from basically what you saw?
Well, I want to hear from Harrison. I'm going to let Harrison jump in because he's a huge Eagles fan. So,
thank you.
You keep perpetuating this. I'm going to fight you.
I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy we won. I'm so happy for our team, our coaching staff, our players in that locker room, our fan base. I'm just so proud of us. And yeah,
we did it, Joe.
We did it. And yeah, I'm just happy. But man, Saquon loves to see the Rams, huh?
He sure does.
He really does. But yeah, just talking on Jalen Hurts, I mean, people say it in a derogatory sense, like game manager. That's what he's doing right now, and that just shows maturity and growth. And it's not in a negative way.
Yes.
I mean, you have to take what's in front of you. We talk about, quarterbacks a whole lot on this podcast, and media does in general. But it's truly a team game. And all facets of it have to come together, and they're just taking what's given to them. They have a really strong defense that forces turnovers, and they have a great running game. So what's wrong with relying on that? I get that people want to see, Jalen Hurts drop back and pass for 300 yards, but why? That just kind of, lends itself into, mistakes, and mistakes are happening when you're pressing like that and when you're passing the ball. And we talked about it at length that the running game is so necessary in these in the playoffs. It's you have to have it. And the Eagles have the best one at it right now. So yeah, they just do what they have to do to win. And there's nothing wrong with that. And they're just going to continue to, put themselves in positions to win themselves a championship by just playing football the way that they're constructed to play.
Yeah, this team is so deep and just plays as a team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of, Saquon is having a phenomenal year. The offensive line's having a great year. That secondary has stepped up. Jalen Carter, Jesus, this team is so just when your numbers picked, as Harrison and Hayes you just mentioned, it's your turn, you just show up, and it's just a phenomenal thing. And they've also shown all year they don't give a damn about stats. I mean, Saquon sat himself against the Giants because he didn't want to, like what do you say, Hayes? Let's let the younger guys
eat.
Get some run. Yep. And he doesn't want to show up his old team. He's just, he's unfortunately like in this mess, and he's doing everything except like rubbing it in Giant fan faces here. Everyone else is doing it, and that's the role of social media and fans and all of that. But he sat week 18 when he had a chance to live in infamy as a potentially be the record holder there for
not his choice.
But still, he probably would have. Like,
nope, he wanted it.
You don't think so?
He openly said he wanted it for himself in the line, but he said he was fine with
Sirianni. That screws up my narrative here.
Yep.
This team doesn't care about that. This team doesn't care about stats. Like Jalen, and you said it about Josh Allen 5 minutes ago. What was the thing that was a detriment to this team especially last year, was Jalen not being healthy. He's healthy. Yep. And hopefully, and protecting the damn football, and he's done. It's been a masterclass of doing that this year for him. From where he was protecting the ball to now, Josh Allen too, and and you mentioned it. All the teams that won didn't have any turnovers. The Texans statistically destroyed the Chiefs, but they know how to. The Chiefs know how to win playoff games.
They do,
and it's this team knows how to win. They're we're just in a Super Bowl not too long ago. So yeah, it's a team effort, and I could care less. These could care less about stats.
So
in this case, it's playoff football.
So statistically, Jalen Hurts has always protected the ball. Last year was anomaly essentially for what he does, because he normally doesn't turn the ball over like that, and he's back to his form of not turning the ball over and taking care of that. I have some interesting stats and things that I just want to share about this game. Jalen Hurts has tied Patrick Mahomes for the most consecutive playoff games without an interception in the Super Bowl era, with 6. So that goes with that. Saquon is also on a record watch. This man, literally, if he would have broke the record, which he would have done, he is on the verge of breaking the playoff rushing record. He is 148 yards away from breaking the playoff record, which is owned by Terrell Davis. He's number 1 and number 2. Saquon currently is number 3. Terrell Davis has 2,476 yards is the record. Saquon currently has 2,329 yards. So he's there with that. The Eagles also have been to the NFC Championship, have hosted it since 2002. They've hosted it 6 times. The next closest is San Francisco and Seahawks 3 times. Green Bay 2, New Orleans, Atlanta, and Chicago 2. 1, the Rams, the Panthers, the Cardinals, and 0, the Lions, Vikings, Bucks, Commanders, Giants, and the Cowboys. So that was pretty interesting this year. Also, on the flip side, I showed this with the guys, or talked to the guys about this before we got on here, that Matthew Stafford struggles in inclement weather. Even though he didn't struggle yesterday, his record is what shows that he struggles, essentially. He holds a 1-8 record in rain or snow games, and his stats in those conditions is 54.6% completion rate, 14 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and a 76 passer rating. Again, if you saw how he played yesterday, we'd probably think that is not true, but that is what it is for that. I do to give the Rams props, because I know we talk more about the Eagles than anything in this. They played really well. They played really, really well, especially on their last 2 drives. I will honestly and openly tell you that my blood pressure was, if I would have definitely tested it at that time, it would have been through the roof. I was rocking back and forth on my couch with my hands over my mouth, because I saw the pass to Puka and how he caught that, and I was just so like, good. God damn it, he's about to drive down the field and just take this over. And then the man-child that Jalen Carter is absolutely blew up the center. Well, the center looked the wrong way first. If you saw this,
the right guard, and that he had the false start, and then he Yeah, he had a bad two plays. Yeah.
I know there was a lot of controversy with the rookie defensive end leading up to this game, of how he said he hated green and white and hated the Eagles and all that stuff, and it played into it and made the game more interactive. But the drive that they came down and scored so quickly on a touchdown, the Eagles definitely let their foot off the pedal. They were celebrating already after Saquon scored that touchdown, and the defense came out there like, "Oh, we got this," and left so much time out there for Matthew Stafford and drove down the field to do what he had to do. It's the Rams. Sean McVay I know he's considered to be a genius, but the way that his teams play for him, it is phenomenal. That they always are around. They may not start off the greatest, and the Rams definitely did not. We all were talking. I think we talked about the Rams making or being something at the beginning of the season, or actually, I said they weren't going to make it at all. And then here they are, we're one step away from being in the NFC Championship game. So I just want to give kudos to them because they played a hell of a game, even in that. But yeah, that was. Any thoughts on the Rams?
Yeah, I mean, starting off 1-4, they were pretty much left for dead. But lucky to be in the division they were in, which was so highly contested, and we talked about it a lot this year because of my Cardinals.
Yeah, those things.
But for them, they were never in the conversation until the last couple weeks because of the Seahawks leading and the Cardinals leading at one point.
Yeah,
and they just kind of got it together. Everyone got healthy and snuck in there. Not earned it, of course, but snuck in there to a sense. But yeah, they really gelled at the end of the year. And Matt Stafford is still him. Like he's still going to do it.
Yes.
That throw to Nakua, on the right side was unreal.
Filthy.
Just an unreal throw and catch.
Cooper Kupp was the next play or the play after that too. Like
he just
was great.
Making plays and doing what he had to do. And yeah, the record will show that he performed statistically poorly in snow and rain games, but if you watch that game, you couldn't tell.
Not at all. Not at all. Let's get into our next game.
And I real quick, I know I belabor the thing here, but just what this team's had to go through, the Rams here. Mm-hmm. I mean, everything, and our hearts go out to everything going on in LA.
Absolutely.
They moved that game. You got to play a playoff game. Now you're in another city, and people are your family, yourself. Maybe losing your home, all this devastation going on, and then the next week you fly across the country and I know there's things bigger than football, but again, this Rams team continued to just play like none of that mattered, and that's saying something because it's allowed to matter, right?
Absolutely, and shout out to the Harrison's fake team, the Cardinals, and how they were willing to accommodate that game on such short notice. They flew in, they helped fly in the players, dogs, families, and got them all set up. There's buses that set up. Shout out to Roger Goodell also for this, obviously, because it's his office that did this. And they had shuttle buses going from LA to Arizona to get people to the game and whatnot. Just all the stuff that happened behind the scenes that we didn't see. What happened?
Class act by my organization.
Yes, by your Are you going to Cancun with them? I just was curious about that.
I would love to. Okay. That would be great.
All right.
If it gets me, it's what, like 15 degrees out right now?
Yeah.
Catch me in Cancun.
I would love to be there right now.
Yeah, same.
I would not to love to be. I mean, the Lions are probably joining them there as well. Because the Lions, it sucks sometimes to be the number one seed when you don't get to play against a team that has a bunch of momentum. We talked about this with the college football when we spoke about that last week. And here the Lions were the number one seed, overall seed, and absolutely got their faces punched in by the Commanders on Saturday. They won. The Commanders won 45-31 over the Lions. I know we as the podcast said openly that we could see the Commanders winning this game. I don't know how much we fully invested into that, but I think our eyes told us what we saw and the possibility of it. And here we are that the Lions have blown this again. And I know Dan Campbell has gone up to the podium and cried post game and said, this is on me, and taking it for his guys. And this is going to bode well for him and players that want to go play for him. Like, I want to be with a coach that talks like this and whatnot. The real verdict of this game and the real reason that they lost this game is, in my opinion, two factors. Jared Goff and their defense, and I'll put in parentheses injuries, because we've been talking about the injuries of the Lions over and over and over again and saying they're very, very susceptible because they don't have their key pieces. We talked about it when Aiden Hutchinson went down so long ago, and we continue to talk about it all the way to this point, and it reared its ugly head. Jared Goff threw for 313 yards, for 1 TD, 3 interceptions. The Lions, on basically a majority of the major stats, dominated. In total yards, they outclassed the Commanders. In passing yards, beat them in that. In rushing yards, beat them in that. In yards per play, beat them in that. And the Commanders still punched their faces in. Now, I heard somebody joke and say this is why Sean McVay was sitting at home like, see, this is why we got rid of him. I don't think that's fair. I mean, they've been playing very, very extremely well, and we watched what the Lions did this whole year. They had one of the best offenses I've ever seen, period, on a football field. And this was just a game that they didn't have it, and they ran into a team that was just hotter than them. And I feel bad for friends of ours that are Lions fans. I have a really, really close friend that him and his wife are Lions fans, and they are absolutely distraught. But shout out to the Commanders, because we talked about it last week. We said Jaden Daniels. I said very clearly, if Jaden Daniels wins this game, he's the greatest rookie that we've ever seen, period. And here we are.
Yeah. And I think we all said, and I remember saying, if they play defense the way they did against the Vikings, they're winning the Super Bowl, or they're right there. They didn't, because now how much of that was they just division rival? They were up to play the game there. Sam Darnold turned into a pumpkin. All of these things are factors here, but yeah, they didn't play defense very well, and they lost. Yes. And I don't even know if it was as close as. I mean, the score wasn't close, but
it was close at one point.
Yeah, I mean, at one point.
In the third quarter, it was 31-28. But
yeah, right. No, I mean the final score, just reflecting the game. Yeah. At one point, I'm watching the game with my friend, and I'm like, this is boring. Like, this isn't not what I thought it was going to be. And then it just completely, the wheels came off, and it was, it was a lot of fun, but. Yeah, unflappable, man. Like, Jaden Daniels just sitting on the bench, pan to him, and it's just not a bead of sweat, just focused. It's unreal.
Harrison, real quick before you start, were you the friend that watched it with Sam?
I was not.
Okay, I wasn't either. All right, continue. Go ahead.
Wow.
Yeah, you listed all those stats for the Lions. The main one is the 5 turnovers to 0. We could be friends. We could watch it together. But yeah, man, 5 turnovers just not going to get it done. I think he was concussed after the second one when he got absolutely obliterated trying to make a play and stop a touchdown. He just didn't look right for the rest of the game.
No. He looked like he just I think he was got pulled over.
When he was yelling at Dan Campbell,
he was just like
I'm fine. Yeah, I was like, you're not fine, my guy.
Yeah, I mean, we got a Teddy Bridgewater sighting.
True.
Signed him from Miami.
12, by the way.
He was coaching a Miami high school.
Bro, let's talk about that for a second. I saw it when they were like, Teddy Bridgewater is coming in for him. I was just like, you mean the high school coach that just won the state championship? I was like, wait, he's playing football again?
There has to be. I love Teddy Bridgewater. There has to be a better backup quarterback.
There is.
Goff was able to come back in somehow. I don't know if he should have, but yeah, he didn't look right for the rest of the game. It did get to 31-28 at some point, but Commanders scored 31 in the first half, just absolutely lit up the Lions defense. And I have a working theory now. Like, is Dan Campbell Tom Thibodeau? Because so many injuries.
Oh, God.
And they play such an aggressive style. Is he beating the hell out of these guys to the point where they are just a regular season team? Working theory. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, they have some. They got to get healthy. They have to stay healthy. The best ability is availability, and they just didn't have that, and they just got completely lit up. And the turnovers absolutely killed them, and just big plays all across the board. And then, man, Jaden Daniels is just so freaking good. Like, his accuracy is unreal.
Yes.
Saying it's the best rookie season ever is not a stretch. You have your team in a conference championship as the Washington freaking Commanders, who haven't been in the playoffs for 18 years. When we were in high school.
They picked second, guys.
Yep.
We were in high school last time they were in the playoffs. So, yeah, a lot of question marks for the Lions. But again, same as the Ravens. Like, you're knocking at that door. You have a good amount of pieces, and yeah, this one will stick with them for a long time, though.
Shout out to what's the Giants GM Joe Shane, right? Shout out to his 10-year son that said that we should draft him, and his father took
one chance at this. Yep. Might as well win.
Yep, his father took 2 L's on Hard Knocks, and one could have been avoided if he listened to his son. Very, very interesting. It says
now you're going to lose Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you guys now. I asked the question, if the Ravens window is closing, do you think the Lions window is closing? Because in my opinion, you're losing Joe Brady, right? It's Joe Brady or Ben Johnson. Excuse me, Ben Johnson, and then what's his name?
Aaron Glenn.
Yes, correct. You're losing two of the top coordinators for sure, most likely. And you're going to have to restart over. So does this close their window to the Super Bowl, or do you think they still have a chance going from here?
I don't know. It's hard for me to say their window is ever open, because it's like Jared Goff is fine, but he's not Lamar, Patrick, or Josh Allen. And I just think, yeah, you have the all the good pieces in the team around him, but I just never truly believed in his ability to, not single-handedly, but like step up in those playoff moments, in that Super Bowl moment when he, was needed to do so. So I don't know. I like the Lions. I think they're a great team, but I was never truly completely sold on them. So that's just my vantage point of it.
If you guys don't believe it, listen to our predictions of this season. Harrison made that abundantly clear several times. Sam, you're going to say something.
I was just going to say, like, you dealt with this, Hayes, losing your 2 coordinators after winning a Super Bowl. I mean, you have that Lombardi forever. That's great. What's that like, by the way? Just want to know.
Great feeling. Great feeling.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's good, I love it.
It's a great feeling. I don't know why he said he loved it. Don't know why he said that at all.
What I mean is, like, I think this team's good enough. I believe in Dan Campbell enough to know, like, that's going to happen. I question, like, the thing that I question, and I want the Jets won't even interview Ben Johnson, or he won't go there, and I don't blame him for that. But like that trick crazy play, and then JMO, you can't throw that ball there, man. You're a wide out. You are so special. You are so good. Like that slant and like that earlier touchdown, like there's only a handful of receivers in the league that can do that. Yeah. He's definitely one of them. And he's been doing that since he was in college. But like that play, like I know you're trying to just create and make something happen there, but
they take, they're so aggressive. I mean, and other flip side of the coin, the toss to the shovel pass was one of the craziest plays I've ever seen. Like, that's awesome. But then you have on the flip side that one, where JMO's throwing, a duck for an interception.
Yeah.
The Redskins kind of just beat them at their own game. They were so aggressive as well. They went for it on 4th down pretty much every time. 2-point conversions, and it's just, I don't know, man. It's just not adding up for me.
Harrison
with the Lions.
Harrison meant Commanders, but I wish they were the Redskins still.
Did I call them the Redskins?
You did. It's okay because I've
the Washington football team.
I still wish they were the Redskins.
I wish they were the football team. I like that
hated
one.
that.
I'm just glad Dan Snyder's not around.
I am as well. Before we move on to the next game, Jaden Daniels became the first rookie in NFL history with 2 300-plus playoff games. So the kid is out here dealing, and he will continue to do that.
Got that. Flowers to Jahmyr Gibbs. Jeez, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
He looks like you're on, like, you're fast forward, like he's starting the podcast, like at 2 speed. Like watching him run, and then just I know Montgomery's not at full strength, but still like that, the old school thunder and lightning kind of thing. Like it's just, it's fun to watch. Jahmyr Gibbs is. I was scratching my head when they took him 12 overall or whatever they did in that draft. But
it wasn't a mistake. It was not a mistake. Not at all.
He's great.
Yeah. Shout out to Jaden Daniels' VR headset as well.
Yeah.
That's a fun story.
It is a very fun story. If you don't know about
I could see that.
But yeah,
I could see that being utilized
a lot
forward.
More. Yeah.
I know hockey goalies use it a lot, and I didn't know quarterbacks did as well. But that's a pretty smart way to do things.
It is. Your speed is your eye speed is already accelerated. You go from there. We have the Chiefs and Texans. Or I should say, the refs in Texans, because 100% that's what that was. Saturday's game between these two on ESPN was the most watched game ever, with 32.7 million viewers.
For cable or in general?
Was ESPN's most ever watched game ever.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
Okay.
So, shout out to them on that. Which was very, very big. But the Chiefs won 23. I mean, the refs won 23-14 over the Texans. And I've never seen Patrick Mahomes might as well. It's essentially like he has an invisible force field around him to protect him, and that force field just so happens to be a pattern of zebra stripes. And this man can somebody can cough on Patrick Mahomes, and they will call roughing the passer. There was 2 plays in that game that they literally did not touch him in that way. One in particular, the Will Anderson one, where they said it was target, or was it target of roughing the passer or targeting, whatever the hell it was called. Yeah, and said that it hit him in his head region, and we watched the replay over and over again in slow motion, and he just pushed him like a grown man would in football, and they called that. Also, the play that Mahomes went down and slid late, and the 2 Texans players hit each other and not him, and they called that roughing the passer as well too. Yep. About sick and tired of. I will say this openly. I was not one to subscribe to the whole Chiefs and the refs situation or whatever. Yes, we watched Tom Brady get several calls throughout several years, and they protect the asset. And Mahomes has now acquired this infinity stone in his gauntlet. But
that's good.
After watching this on Sunday or Saturday, that was the most blatant or ridiculous calls I've seen throughout this time. And I could understand why people would be extremely upset. I was watching it, and I actually like Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid. But that made me sick. And if I was a Texans fan, I absolutely would have been sick, because them boys were hitting and they were playing extremely, extremely well. But as many people have said, and I've now subscribed to this, is sometimes the Chiefs don't beat you. You beat yourself. And teams have consistently beat themselves because they're worried about that guy with the 1-5 on the opposite side of what he's going to do when he gets the ball, when he has an opportunity. And they play so tight that they end up making mistakes that come back and burn them. And I feel that's what happened in this situation. But shout out to CJ Stroud, 245 yards passing. Patrick Mahomes had 177 yards, 1 touchdown. Joe Mixon had a phenomenal year. 88 yards rushing, and then 1 TD. Travis Kelce, 117 yards and 1 touchdown. you take that as you may, but you gentlemen have any comments? I'm done talking about the refs.
I love D'Amico Ryan's comments after the game. He said it was us versus everybody, and when I say everybody, I mean everybody. And he saved himself a little bit, and he's like the fan base and like all that.
Yeah, he wanted that fine.
We know what he was trying to say.
Yes.
So the Texans are the first team to outgain their opponent by 100+ yards, not commit a turnover, and lose a playoff game. They did miss a field goal. They had a field goal blocked, and they turned it over on downs once, but that's tough to do.
It is.
That's tough to do, and the Chiefs squeak away.
Yeah, they both had 9 drives, but 336 more yards. They had more yards than the Chiefs. 212. 18 first downs to 14. 65 plays ran to 50. They led time of possession 33 minutes to 26 minutes.
Yeah.
And, again, same amount of drives, no turnovers. They lost the game, but what was the score? Double digits? Like
23-14.
Yeah,
9.
like by damn. Like, and again, the ref, I get it. I mean, it's just any given Sunday, right? I don't know.
You win that game 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
Shout out to Caitlin Clark and Taylor Swift.
That was cool.
In the same box. That was cool. That's a cool moment. That whoever did that, they knew what they were doing.
For who? Who's a cool moment for?
For Caitlin. That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool for Caitlin Clark.
Oh, okay. That's what you're saying it's cool for.
Yeah.
It wasn't a cool moment for me. Just one.
Are you not a Swiftie?
Hell no.
Oh, be careful.
I don't give a damn. Cancel me. Do whatever the hell you want. I'm fine with that. I will die on that hill.
We can't lose the Swifties here.
Yeah, we got to keep moving.
You guys they can support you guys. They'll just hate me on here, and they can support you too. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
I feel like a lot of people hate listen to Hayes, and
I love that. I love that for me.
I know you do.
I love that for me. I really do. I
don't say anything that's worth hating.
I love that for me so much. It's give me all of the hate.
I keep it safe. I'm a fan of everybody.
Taylor also was the Eagles fan, right?
Look, I mean,
she was an Eagles fan, right?
Her boyfriend plays.
She was an Eagles fan, right?
Sure.
Okay.
I guess, right?
Okay. You got to root for your spouses. Okay. Yeah, spouses significant,
she can support her boyfriend when he's playing and still be an Eagles fan. So whatever. Swiftie fans be mad at me. I don't really care. Gentlemen, let's get into our picks.
Mm-hmm.
Our playoff record right now.
I'm
5-5. Sam is also 5-5. And ladies and gentlemen, Harrison is something remarkable. He's 6-4. It's going to change for him this week, but he is 6-4. And IG, you did not listen to any of us. You're 4-6. So, well, you kind of did in certain ways. Conference championship. Division championship, right? NFC championship, AFC championship. You have on Sunday, both games are Sunday, so you can enjoy your Saturday, and I'm going to enjoy mine and decompress any way I possibly can. Sunday, the 26th, the 6 seed Commanders at the 2 seed Eagles, 2 p.m. Eastern. Sam and I both have the Eagles, and Harrison, the guy that said he is an Eagles fan, has the Commanders.
Yep, I said that.
Why? If you're an Eagles fan,
it's been a great year for us.
Get the hell out of here!
I ride or die with my team, and I think this week we're just
I was going to say
the Eagles, the green one. I think this week we're just going to die. I don't know. I'm picking the Commanders off like vibe alone. They're playing so well. I don't know. They lost to the Eagles in the regular season. I get it. But
I mean, they won the second game.
Yeah. All right, that's good. So split. That's good for my narrative. I don't know, man. That's my pick.
What did Saquon say to Jalen before he snapped the ball for that?
Well, Saquon actually,
he said, "I got this."
He didn't actually say that. We all thought he said, "I got this," but Saquon actually explained what happened. He was on the wrong side. he was actually supposed to be on the opposite side, and he was talking to Jalen about it, and he said he can't really say what he said because it'll give the play away, but he said he was on the wrong side, and he was trying to confirm if he was on the right side. And he said, well, it worked out anyway, so it's all right. So that's what he was trying to do. I love the fact that we all thought he said, I got this, which would have been a way better story, and I love that so much. So in my head, I'm still going with that. But he said he was on the wrong side. So
I think for the narrative, we'll just say he said, I got this.
I agree. I agree. What I don't agree with is your Commanders pick, and you can kick all the rocks for that. But, you can choose your pick. And when the Eagles go to the Super Bowl, you come on this podcast and say we again. In the middle of this podcast, I'm driving your damn house. All right? I'm just letting you know that right now. And I know exactly where you live. Bills at Chiefs, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. We all have the Bills, which scares the hell out of me on this one. So let's talk about why we all have the Bills on this one. I'll just say this very quickly. I just think it's Josh Allen's time. But with that being said, the Chiefs and the refs are going to win. So
I think the Bills they're better. They're playing better. And with all that said, none of it really matters. So we'll see, but I have a good feeling about the Bills.
Okay.
I said, and I know Harrison, Hayes has said this before, like not doubting Patrick Mahomes, and I'm not doubting Patrick Mahomes.
Not at all.
I'm not doubting him. I just think the Bills have, and this is a tough task. You could say the refs, you could 12th man. Like KC is a hard place to play. Buffalo is a hard place to play. They're not playing in Buffalo.
No.
So, it's going to be a great game. I lean with the Bills here, and I agree. I think, just Josh Allen time. And I just like how this team's playing a little more. But again, this Chiefs team has been there, and it would not surprise me. But right now I'm picking the Bills.
I'm just curious of what Mac Hollins is going to wear into the stadium, and if he's coming barefoot again, as he normally did. My man legit needs to stop walking outside barefoot. I mean, this is how he feels in tune with the earth, and I guess do you, boo-boo, but my man just be wearing the craziest fits coming into a game. So shout out to him, former Eagle, and former Raider. So
one of our guys.
Not one of your guys, because you chose the Commanders. So Jaden Daniels and Scary Terry is one of your guys. Do We Care is back.
Yes.
We're back.
Unrivaled.
Favorite segment.
Yeah, maybe. Unrivaled is a 3-on-3 women's league, which is comprised of WNBA players. And Harrison and I essentially started the conversation. Sam, I don't think you didn't get the chance to watch after that, right?
I didn't get to watch, unfortunately.
I started in the group text, and I said, I'm not really mad at this. I kind of like this. And Harrison echoed the same sentiment, and it was really, really, really fun to watch this 3-on-3 platform. And I said immediately in that text, I said, if the guys could do this, maybe this helps improve, viewership for the NBA, but who knows? We'll see. But no, it was really, really good to see just 3-on-3, and it's not the same players that are on WNBA teams. They're not, if they play on the Liberty, they're not all playing on the same team. It's the teams. I guess they had a draft. Did they have a draft or something like that? I'm assuming. So people that would be on rival teams during the regular season are our teammates during this. And it's really, really cool to get to see some of these players match up with each other and then also against each other. But it was, I don't remember the team, but it's the team with Angel Reese on there, Skylar Diggins also against them. I think Skylar's against that team or whatnot. But very, very cool to see. Very, very cool to see. I definitely will be tuning in and more to some of those games, especially now that football is dying down. More basketball will be ramping up for me until the baseball season comes around. So I do care.
I care as well. I thought it was really cool. I loved like the size of the court. Like makes a lot of sense for 3-on-3.
Yes.
Like I like the what's Ice Cube's league?
Big Three, or right? Is it not Big Three?
Yeah, Big Three.
I think
Big
so.
Three.
Yeah. I watch it here and there, but like I don't know. I like as a basketball player, I hate half court. Like I hated playing half court. Like I want to run full court.
Yeah.
But but being able to play 3-on-3 on a full court and the way it was sized was awesome. Having, the shortened quarters and the Elam ending where, you have a target score at the end. I think they just did so many things right with just the format of it. And then, it paid dividends in some of the games. You get a buzzer beater from Skylar Diggins, right off the bat. And I'm definitely tuning in. I think it's really cool. I would love to see, NBA players do this. They definitely wouldn't because they love their off seasons.
Yeah.
But
yep.
A great idea. Awesome to see and kind of keep yourself in the conversation in those down months. So I'll be tuning in.
Also, before you go, Sam, I think it's just really cool now, especially after like the Brittany Griner situation and having these players go and play overseas. This potentially could be something that they get some more revenue here and get paid more since they, we can get to the whole revenue share topic, whatever, but at least keep the players safe over here in the States and be able to see here and not have them go all across the seas and play all over the place. But I'm sure there'll still be some that do that and whatnot. Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, no, I think just the feedback I heard, I know you guys were raving about it when we were texting about it, and I'm looking forward to checking it out there too. It's cool. It's a cool dynamic, especially like CBA and the WNBA is coming up, right? And there were a lot of talks that, being the off season for the WNBA and like having all these, players play together, like for free agency, that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's a fun alternative too. And, I think from what I've read and they're taking care of the players and a lot of these facilities and just experiences are already better than, unfortunately, what they're experiencing with their WNBA franchises. So yeah, no. What was it? It was Breanna Stewart and who else founded it? She was one of the founders, right? Like Collier?
Yeah, I think it was a couple. It was a couple, and I love that too because it's like there's a lot of stake in the game for them to want this to do well.
Yes.
And you could see how they were playing too. Like they're playing hard. Like it's not an exhibition. Like they're playing.
Yes.
Hard. They're playing, and they want this to succeed because they know, they created it. So that's awesome.
I hope this prospers because I enjoy it. But just off that fact alone, I definitely hope it excels. So we'll see what happens. Who I don't hope excels is this guy Roki Sasaki in the Los Angeles Dodgers, who also just got Tanner Scott too on top of that. I am sick and tired of seeing the Dodgers get everybody and their mother. It's absolutely disgusting. So, Sam, I don't care. I know you put this on here, and I'm highly upset that you did. I did see something that I did want to share about that I thought was absolutely comical. It says, somebody wrote on Twitter this, the MLB The Show 25 will now allow users in Diamond Dynasty to defer stub payments for those who choose to do the Dodgers collection. Stub payments will not be required to be paid until 2035. Shout out to that person for that. If you don't understand the stubs in the show, it's the currency within the show. Is very, very interesting. Their deferred contracts is, I think I saw it was like up to like 1 point something billion is the total amount of deferred money
that they've handed out lately. Yeah.
Good
we
luck.
all make fun of Bobby Bonilla and the Mets, but like this is
shaping up to be something crazy.
Shohei's getting $68 million a year for the 10 years after he retires. A year. Yeah, no, the thing with Roki Sasaki that makes it so, impressive as an asset for a team is that since he's under 25, he is subject, and an international player, he's subject to the international rules. Like the January 15th is the day that the 17-year-olds in Central America can sign with these teams, and they play Dominican ball, and then they come over to the complex and all of that. So you're essentially getting 6 years of Roki Sasaki, who is at this, just a premier arm, 23 years old in Japan, at a minor league contract. This isn't Yamamoto where you're paying him $300 million. You're getting him for the league minimum for 3 years, and he hits arbitration. So, everyone had a quote fair shake at trying to sign him because the money was the same. But not there's a lot of different things than just money there, and winning, and his friends are on the team, and talent, and the way they've developed players, and that's what's kind of infuriating about the whole thing. It's kind of like, oh yeah, so on top of Tanner Scott and Blake Snell and all this other Tommy Edman, all this other money you're throwing around, oh yeah, you get this international phenom with arguably the best splitter we've ever seen, for nothing. And that's great, good. I don't care. I think this is probably, he was going there for a long time.
Yeah.
So probably the worst kept secret in baseball,
which is why they're looking into this now.
Yeah. So I just wanted to put it up there because it just sucks. And I never want to hear another fan of any sports team say we spend too much money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yankees, anything, just anyone. Like,
yep.
It's, it's all within the rules and fair, and that's fine. I mean, this is going to get ugly for the Dodgers in like 5 years.
I'll share more about the money in a second. Yep.
Yeah, but for right now, it's, have fun. Like, dude, I'm glad they're invested in winning.
Harrison, what's your thoughts before I share the money line?
I don't have any.
Okay, so he doesn't care. The Los Angeles Dodgers currently owe over $1 billion in deferred money to players, with obligations stretching from 2028 to 2046. Key contract contributions to this include Shohei Ohtani, $680 million deferred, Mookie Betts, $115 million deferred, Blake Snell, $66 million, Freddie Freeman's $57 million, and others, which, for those that don't understand, this allows the Dodgers to reduce their immediate luxury tax and to maintain a competitive roster. So kudos to you guys for paying for the rest of your goddamn lives for the players. Have fun.
So the luxury tax is based on AAV, which is the amount per season that a player is owed. So if you stretch it out, that helps you. So
I'm really mad you made me just talk about this. My day was going really, really well until you did that. Harrison just added something. Do I care about the GGL? Well, being that I didn't watch 1 second of it, no.
Oh, you said you're going to watch.
I didn't watch 1 second of it yet.
Okay,
but I will be watching. I'm gonna watch just to tune in. I did watch Tiger's intro, which I thought was hella dope. But outside of that, I didn't watch a second of it yet. So yeah, I still kind of don't know if I care or not.
I watched both. It was interesting. Unfortunately, both were like blowouts, so they were over very early.
Okay.
So it feels like way longer on the second half of it. I wish they probably should shorten it to 12 holes. They play 15.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm gonna keep watching. We get Rory versus Tiger in 2 weeks, and then tomorrow or tonight, if you're listening, is the New York Golf Club versus Atlanta Drive Golf Club. I don't know who's on either of those teams.
I actually watched ESPN this morning, and I saw that in the promo corner there, but I didn't know who was on either roster.
That'll take time, I guess, to kind of make the players synonymous with the team. But
hot take, golf, and I love golf. I don't play golf as much as Harrison, but it should be 14 holes. 14 holes.
12 holes is perfect. 12
would be. Yeah. I originally was 12. I've gone to 14. 7
okay.
7.
Okay.
Just by the 14th hole, I'm just
yeah.
Any of my friends listening, they know I'm just like I'm done.
What's for lunch?
Yeah, like what are we drinking? What are we doing? I'm keeping score with happy and sad faces. Like it's. But anyway, yeah.
New York Golf Club is Ricky Fowler. Xander, how do you say his last name?
Shoffley.
Okay, and then Matt.
I really wanted him to try.
Okay. So they played the first week, so they're playing again.
Okay.
And how about Puma suing Tiger Woods and Sunday Red? Did you see that for the logo?
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I saw something about him being sued, and I was like, why are they?
Speaking of Ricky Fowler, I think of Ricky Fowler. It's just Puma.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
That's it, Hayes. We're done. We're good.
We are done. Take us out of here so I can go in and keep receipts of Harrison choosing against the Eagles that he says that he's a fan of, and then says he has a whole bunch of Eagles gear and then wears Sixers stuff on and says that he didn't want to come on here with that because he doesn't have any Eagles gear. But yeah, you can take us out of here, Sam.
Tons of Eagles.
Like, to that case, though, I mean, like, this Commanders team is fun. I know you like the
That's
players.
Cute.
I know you like Dan.
That's cute.
Speaking of which, the comment of the weekend had to be from Tom Brady, where it was talking about Dan Quinn. I don't think Dan Quinn
likes seeing owners on the field before the end of the game. Yeah,
that was like, that shade was like all time.
He was very good.
Like, that was great. That was
Brady
so good.
Brady was good. Brady was getting a lot better.
Brady was good. Yeah, Brady was good. Anyway, 159 in the books for Hayes. Harrison, thanks so much for listening. And until next time, peace out. Go Birds.
Go Birds. Kick
go
rocks, Eagles. Harrison. Goodbye.
Our team, let's go, baby.
It's not his team. We keep showing. We have receipts, everybody. Remember this. He's not a fan. Bye.